Welcome back. Where have you been? While you've been gone, I've had no one to aim my patronizing comments at. No one to talk about these forgotten NBA legends with. It's been a struggle. Seriously though, I'm glad you're here. Today's legend is a real high flyer. A human highlight reel if we're being honest. He won 2 dunk contests, was a 9-time All-Star, a Hall of Famer, and, at one point, he was Michael Jordan's biggest rival. He was easily one of the most entertaining NBA players of all time, and you don't remember him? I don't believe it. No, save it. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. Dominique Wilkins was born January 12, 1960 in Paris, France. The Wilkins family moved around a bit before settling in Washington, North Carolina. The young Dominique Wilkins established himself as one of the most exciting players in the nation very early on in his career thanks to several key performances. In one game, a 16-year-old Dominique Wilkins led his team to a win, putting up 48 points, 27 rebounds, and 8 blocks. This dude was putting on a show. He put his team on his back on their way to consecutive state championships. There's really no come-up story here. I mean, he was in Sports Illustrated as a kid. He starred in the McDonald's All-American Game, the Capitol Classic, the Kentucky Derby Classic, you name it. Wilkins was practically a shoo-in for top-tier college teams. He ended up choosing the University of Georgia, where he would average a more than respectable 22 points in 3 years. In his junior year at Georgia, he broke out and earned the SEC Men's Basketball Player of the Year award. Needless to say, he wasn't coming back for that 4th year. He registered for the 1982 draft as one of the highest rated prospects on the planet. Dominique was picked 3rd in the draft by the Utah Jazz, just behind James Worthy and Terry Cummings. Ooh, I bet they're mad. Anyway, the Jazz were having some money issues, and Dominique didn't even want to play there. Go figure. The Jazz traded him to the Hawks just a few months after the draft. They traded him for some no-names and cash. Yeah, that'll hurt. In his first year in the league, Dominique Wilkins averaged 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists, more than enough to make the Jazz look foolish. He may not have been able to hit a shot, or a free throw, but man could he rock the rim. He may not have been much of a star in his rookie season, but that didn't last long. 2 years later, he was averaging 27, 7, and 3, and had a dunk contest win under his belt. He was pretty consistent too. He didn't average less than 25 points for any of the next 10 years. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to repeat his dunk championship as he was beaten by Spud Webb. Imagine? I mean, the dude is 5'7". Anyway, he was really good on the court too, not just in dunk contests. He helped his team achieve multiple 50-plus win seasons, and was the first Hawks player to start in the All-Star game since Eddie Johnson in '81. He may only have one scoring title, but I wouldn't hold that against him. Keep in mind, this was the stretch of years that had Michael Jordan averaging 37 points a game every other year. He did get second a couple times though, which means something, right? Second place seemed to be kind of a pattern for Dominique Wilkins. He was second to Jordan in 3 straight scoring titles, and second to Jordan in the 1988 legendary dunk contest. Dominique was a wonderful player, but he just didn't have that much success on the Hawks. They didn't make it out of the second round of the playoffs a single time while he was there. Despite the lack of team success, Dominique was flourishing. He featured in 9 straight All-Star games and even improved on his shooting. In the 1989 season, the Hawks made a move to add Moses Malone to the team, someone you should be pretty familiar by now if you watched my other video. Adding Moses didn't have much of a difference anyway. They lost in the first round. After 11.5 years with the Hawks, the human highlight reel was traded to the Clippers. Even now, it's the only time in NBA history a team traded its leading scorer after the All-Star break. Despite the trade, Dominique averaged 29, 7, and 2. He was 34 years old but showed no sign of regression. Until he did. The very next season, this time on the Celtics, his numbers dropped to 18-5-2, his worst season by far since his rookie year. The next year, he was completely out of the league. He played in Greece for a while before returning to the NBA on the Spurs and putting up relatively good numbers. He made one more comeback at the age of 39, but only put up 5 points a game. He retired once again, and this time he was gone for good, leaving behind a career for the ages. Dominique Wilkins finished his career with averages of 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists, even with the twilight years. He finished 13th all-time in scoring, ahead of all-time greats such as Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, and Tim Duncan. He is a 9-time All-Star, a 2-time dunk champion, a scoring champion, an All-American, a gold medal winner, and of course, a Hall of Famer. So that's it, but before you go, I wanted to remind you I've got other videos just like this one on my channel, so if you want more content like this, they're there. Also, what's with the whole not subscribing thing? I mean, seriously, my god. You just watched this whole entire video for what? To not subscribe? I'm lost.